Hi and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a 2000 Honda CRV. The customer complaint is that they smell antifreeze. They don't really see much of anything on the ground, but they do smell antifreeze, and the overflow bucket is always needing to be refilled. I took a look at it real quick yesterday, and it's a pretty clean-cut issue. This has a plastic tank on the radiator, and when it heats up, you can actually see the antifreeze coming out through the plastic area in the tank. I'll bring you in now and show you what it looks like and how we're going to go about getting this done. We are going to replace the radiator, and this one here is going to be a little bit of an issue because the bolts themselves are supposed to be 10 millimeter. They're pretty much rusted, almost totally round, so it's maybe a little bit of a problem trying to remove the bolts, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so let me bring you in now. I'm going to show you what it looks like, and then we're going to get started, and we'll get this job wrapped up and hopefully get it out of here in about an hour. All right, so let me bring you in. I'll show you where the leak was actually coming from. Now, the leak itself was actually coming from right down inside here. Even though this tank is solid plastic here, when this heats up, that plastic expands a little bit and it comes out right through there, and it actually winds up showing up down in the seam down right on the very bottom there. But it is the radiator itself, and once we have it out of the vehicle, you'll be able to tell where it's coming from. All right, so what we did do is, just so you know, I did drain the antifreeze out down over here. That white valve you see down the bottom right down there, that's to drain the antifreeze out, which I did empty out already into a bucket. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come up underneath here, and we're going to disconnect all of these bolts here, these 10 millimeters. And as you can see what they look like? They're all rounded off here. I don't even know how most of these are going to come out here, but we'll see how it goes. So, all right, let me give you an example of what kind of tools you're going to need and what we're going to be doing. All right, this is an example of what kind of tools you're going to need. You're going to need a set of sockets, probably 10 millimeter, or maybe a little bit smaller, a couple of ratchets, a couple of screwdrivers. I am going to use some 10 millimeter quarter-inch drive because I don't want to take a chance on snapping them, and a couple of screwdrivers. So, all right, let's get started, and we'll continue. We'll see how it goes. All right, we'll see how it goes. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take out these bolts right here. Remember I said they're 10 millimeters. Don't lose these because you're going to need to put these back on later. Let me just flip this over here. Okay, can't lose that. All right. Looks like somebody was on this already with vice grips trying to get it out. All right, normally I wouldn't use vice grips on this, but it looks like somebody already rounded this thing out. We're just going to take this off temporarily. Now obviously we're not going to put this bolt back in there, we're going to get a replacement for it. You should never have to use vice grips to take a bolt out. Look at this. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take these hoses off. Now remember, I drained the antifreeze out of this already, so make sure yours is empty also. Take the hose off. And we'll just locate this up and out of the way for now. Disconnect your overflow hose also. We'll just relocate that off to the side for now. All right, we're going to need to take out these 10mm bolts right here. Don't lose these, you're going to need them again. Some penetrating. Just going to put some penetrating oil on here to try to loosen these up a little bit. Okay, and we unplug our electrical connector here so we can unplug the cooling fan. Okay, we have to disconnect the 10mm bolts down the bottom as well. We just unplugged our cooling fan on the side here as well. Alright, let me just show you this here. We're going to have a little bit of an issue here. I'm going to do something different here. You see down on the bottom, down here, you see how rusted those bolts are right there? We're not going to be able to take those out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually pull the radiator out with the cooling fans attached, and then we'll deal with it on the ground to get those out of there. All right. So All right, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to disconnect the lines right here, this one and this one. Normally I would disconnect it on the, oh no, you know what, maybe I will still disconnect it down here. I'm going to get in here with a pair of pliers and take that clamp off there. So we're going to do that, and I'm going to disconnect that hose, and we're going to pull that radiator out of there. And I'm going to try to pull off that transmission cooler line. Now normally you would take off the fan with that, but this, I can't get the fan off because the bolts are so badly rusted, so we're going to take it out as an assembly. See what I mean about that thing being so rusted? So we're going to take this out. It'll make it a lot easier going back together. So, all right, let me take this out and we're going to continue on the floor. Okay. What you want to do is you want to match up both radiators to make sure that they are the same radiators. And as you can see, this one is the correct radiator. And we are going to switch over this here. This bolt here, I did break it off already, so that's all done there. And we're going to take this off right here now. Okay, then what you will need to do is these pieces down on the bottom right here, these are actually, they turn, see? See how they turn? You have to turn it to the right angle there, and then you snug them down so that you're at the same angle as that one. Hey, how you doing? Make sure this one's at the same angle too. Tighten that up. All right, these can come off. This can come off. And then you take these pieces here off also, like that. And we're going to put these back in the car, and we're going to lay the radiator back in. So let's get back over to the car. Okay. Then we take these two pieces here and put them back down where they came from, down the bottom here. And I will lay our radiator back in. I just want to show this to you too. I did put this hose back on. We're going to put the cooling fan in later. We're just going to put this back down where it came from. Right? Made sure that the cooling fan here, that the radiator went into those little rubber grommets that we put back down the bottom, there and there. We're going to reconnect this back up on here, and we're going to reconnect the this hose back over to here where it belongs, like that. And now we're going to move that clamp back down, and we'll reconnect this back up there. Okay, now slide that clamp back over. We're going to reinstall this clamp that we previously took off here. And then we'll slide that clamp back into position. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, we got the hose reconnected down on the bottom here and tightened up the clamp. We have our transmission cooler lines both reattached on the bottom here and here. Now we're going to reattach our supports up on top here, and then we'll start to bolt it up. We'll reconnect our overflow tube here. And the last thing we're going to do is going to lay that other cooler fan back in there. Now this one you have to get this back in here first, down the bottom. We're going to put a little bit of anti-seize on here. Now we're going to put this back in, and then we'll plug the electrical connectors in shortly. We'll plug the cooling fans back in. Okay. And that is it. We're going to fill it. Okay. Now that we have everything back on, we're going to go over exactly what we did. All right, we have our radiator back in. We have it into the little boots down on the bottom, those little rubber pieces. We reconnected our transmission cooler lines. We're going to reattach this little bracket here. Down on the bottom right there, the trans lines are connected up. The lower hose is reconnected on. The upper hose is connected. Our brackets are on. The hold downs for the top of the radiator are tight. And we have our electrical fans reconnected. Very important, make sure your fans are connected. Both fans are done. We reattached that electrical lead right over here. Now we're going to fill it up with antifreeze, and then we're going to run it just to make sure that there's no leaks. So all right, let's continue. I'm going to add too that this antifreeze in these Hondas is a special antifreeze. It's a blue antifreeze that you use on these, so make sure you use the correct antifreeze. Okay. And then once we have the antifreeze filled to the top, now we are going to run this just to make sure it circulates, but for now we're just going to put the cap on, and we're going to start this and let it run till it heats up. And we're going to watch to make sure that the cooling fans both come on. Okay. Very important. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start the vehicle up, we're going to let it run, and we're going to let it run now until the cooling fans go on. Very important is make sure your cooling fans go on. That's very important. And watch your temperature gauge to make sure you have the antifreeze filled up properly. Okay, while we have that running, I just wanted to show you what actually broke on this radiator. See right here? That's where it cracked, right across the top right there. All right, it was actually leaking in a couple of other places too, but that was the leak that was actually, you know, from right now. All right, so we're gonna let this run a little bit. We're making sure that there's no leaks in it, and once we get those cooling fans turning on, we're gonna top off the overflow bucket here, and we'll make sure the radiator is full and it's out the door. Some of them turn out to be a little bit of a pain in the rear end, others not so much. This one is a little bit rusty, so it was a little more difficult. All right, that's it. Any questions or any comments, or you need any advice, send me an email. I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.